Baroque architecture is the building style that was present within the Baroque era in late 16th century Italy. It took the Roman vocabulary of Renaissance architecture and used it in a new rhetorical and theatrical fashion, often to express the triumph of the Catholic Church. The complicated geometry of Roman Baroque architecture was meant to pay tribute to the institutions and beliefs of the Catholic faith.
Common characteristics among Baroque churches specifically include their massive size, a large open central space inside to view the altar with clarity, detailed columns, and theatrical effects through lighting and decoration. Extensive decoration was used in the form of painting and sculpture to add to the grandeur and importance of these churches. The Baroque style is also characterized in sculptures by Bernini during this time period. These sculptures show the most dramatic snapshot from the story they are portraying. For example, Bernini's David shows the moment right before the slingshot is fired and the beast is defeated, whereas in Michelangelo's, a pensive young boy is depicted. The sculptures not only capture a moment of the story, but are meant to be viewed in the round as to tell the story. The extravagant Baroque style of the early 17th century is reflected in many of the monuments we saw in our journey through Rome.
Go?
Yes.
Okay, so Baroque art is actually very interesting due to the fact that technically it was very flamboyant colors, very different during its time period. Not to mention it actually kind of started as to rebuttal against Lutheranism, as Catholics wanted to get rid of it.
Okay. I don't know a lot about Baroque art per se, but I do know that it has a very intimate link with Baroque music, which featured a lot of very detailed embellishment melodically and even rhythmically. And I feel that that links to the art because the art also boasted a lot of bright colors, gold, gilding, and embellishments itself.
Funny you should ask that. I've heard a lot about Baroque art, but I don't know how much you've heard about Baroque music. And I can tell you that as I prepared to come to Rome, I spent most of the last 3 months listening most entirely to Baroque music to get myself ready. Italian Baroque music. Primarily Corelli, which is associated with the city, especially, and several other drop names, but you may not have heard of them. I found that among all the art forms which we've seen, I prepared mostly by listening to Baroque music as a way of getting myself ready to take in all the Baroque art that I've seen.
Still appealing, yes or no? Okay.
Architecture.
Architecture.
Okay.
So you
go.
started? Mm-hmm. It started now.
I can trim it, yeah.
Okay, so you can trim it. Alright, so Baroque architecture is still appealing because it's still relevant to modern day Italy, and a lot of tourists go there strictly to visit and see the ancient architecture during that time period.
So I think that the architecture is appealing because it has a lot of color. It has a lot of different shapes and varieties of things. It's very realistic.
Well, the reason I find Baroque art so appealing is because of how loud it all is. Like, so many pieces are like so ridiculously eclectic, but there's like a method to the madness of it. There are just so many intricate little floral style decorations. And I mean, in the modern era, it's a little impractical, but there's just something you can't look away from with it.
The majestic Baroque art dates back to the late 16th to early 17th century. Baroque art is just one of the many ancient designs and masterpieces that we study and or visit in the present day. Studying history, and more specifically Baroque art, is important because it helps us learn from our past and understand the present. By studying the successes and failures of the past, we are able to learn from our mistakes and avoid repeating them in the future. Studying the history of Baroque art provides us with insight into our past architectural designs and enables us to contemplate the experiences that came before us. We are now able to look back at the amazing designs that stand before us and think about the change in time in architecture from the past to the present day.